Hey, it's your pal Mike Shea from slyflourish.com and twitter.com/slyflourish, here with a special episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy D&D Prep. This show is typically shot live Sunday mornings Eastern Standard Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, however, I am doing it Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and will also be doing it tomorrow, Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, I am preparing for a single session Tales of the Old Margreve game that I'm running today at about 1, and I thought it'd be fun to go through the process of setting up a one-shot game. Particularly, this is a one-shot homebrew game that's set in Margreve, but is not one of the adventures in Tales of the Margreve itself. This show, like all Sly Flourish shows, are brought to you by the Sly Flourish patrons. You too can be a patron of Sly Flourish at patreon.com/slyflourish. It's early. If you want to support the show and help fund all of the equipment and bandwidth that it takes to keep a show like this going, you can do so there. You also are helping to keep the website going and everything that all of the infrastructure that it takes to keep Sly Flourish up. The patrons of Sly Flourish help to fund. So thank you for that. So yes, this is a group. So I am finding in our time of social distancing and 100% remote gaming that I actually have more players ready to play D&D than I had before, mostly because there's no traffic anymore. And the doing so, it means going down to one's basement or wherever one plays a game and logging on. So yeah, I've had no trouble getting games together. And today I am getting a game together with some folks that have not been together. I think I've played with both of these groups, but separately, two different couples that we're playing with. And I think I played with them separately in different games. But I think the last time this group was together was in Halloween of 2019, which was the last time I did a Margreve game. So hair, man. We're all going to have great hair pretty soon here. So, yeah, we haven't gotten together since and run a Margreve game. This is actually, I'm calling it a single session because it happens so infrequently. It might as well be a single session. And the last one was Halloween, when they did a version of Castle Shadowcrag, another homebrew adventure that I ran. I think I even did the show. I think I did a preview of Castle Shadowcrag for that. So, yeah, so here we are again. And it's set in the Margreve Forest, which is in the Midgard setting. This is Kobold Press's campaign setting. Kobold Press has a fantastic campaign setting. I think, do I have it here? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Let's go get it. Midgard Workbook. There it is. So Kobold Press has a big, I think I've got a copy sitting around here somewhere, huge source book for a world called Midgard, which is a pretty straightforward Western fantasy style campaign world. But it's got lots of interesting things. It has like undead empires, and it's got lots of crazy kooky cults, and it's got, a whole desert filled with like the great old ones and mageocracies and all kinds of fun things in it. So it's a fun setting. I really did it. Yeah, Evil John says it looked like the 70s. We're all going to look like the 70s. You know, I'm going to get a ponytail. So, so I'm setting it in that world, and Kobold Press makes fantastic D&D products. And a couple of the products that they have made recently that I'm using for today's one-shot include this one, the Midgard campaign book, the Tales of the Old Margreve source book, which is it's a book of 10 adventures set in the Margreve Forest. They are loosely connected. Like, I think the level range of them generally follows a path. It's very much like Ghosts of Saltmarsh, that it's a bunch of adventures that are loosely set in a theme and an environment. And that environment is Margreve Forest. So I'm setting in Margreve Forest, which gives it a nice, cool sort of overlay. And then I got some ideas from this. Yeah, and that map Wild, that map is really, really good. I got some ideas from a source book that they did called Demon Cults and Secret Societies. This was a Kickstarter they ran a while ago. There's a particular cult in here that I think I'm going to use called The Night Cauldron of Chernobog, page 97. I can do that. Look at that. Yeah, the Night Cauldron of Chernobog, which is like a cult of people that are trying to bring eternal night to the world. And I think that they are going to be I have thoughts in my head. I haven't written anything down. I did do a little bit of prep, but only to pull up some maps that I wanted to use, which I can actually, I'll pull up in this window over here. Go here, dry, let's see, docs. Go to docs, we go to spreadsheet, or slides, and we will go to my Saturday Margreve maps. There we go. So I set a bunch of maps up, and I have lately been using Google Slides as my method of doing maps. And I picked a bunch of maps of places that I thought would be good for today's game. And then I set out some tokens. How do I zoom in? Zooming in is Control-Alt+. Control-Alt+. Bang. Whoops. No, I can't see them. The tokens that I grabbed, I grabbed some monster tokens, and I'll show how I use these. These are monster tokens from Printable Heroes. If you go to Printable Heroes and look at their minis, they have lots of very cool minis. And if you do a search for your VTT, come on. Oh, I guess these are VTTs. Oh, I might need the wolf minis. So they have these. Oh, but you have to be a subscriber. I am a subscriber. Log in with Patreon. Will this work? Maybe this might work because I might already be logged in Patreon. I am. So I am a backer, I think, and I think it is definitely worth backing. So I'll show you. So they have tier 3 animal wolves, and we'll open this up and see what kind of wolves they have. And I will drag them in here. Why isn't that working? Why can't I drag a ping onto the window? It should work. That doesn't work. So they have, so Printable Heroes has, oh, I know what I can do. I can copy this. I can drag it into my icon window. So let's grab this guy because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a wolf. Oh, why? Why are things so hard? They're not particularly big. Maybe I have to be nicer in the drag. I don't know what's not working. All right, that's a headache. So, yeah, these are Printable Hero tokens, but you can get tokens from anywhere. I just happened to dig these, and I thought, you know, these tokens look like the cool window. What was it? Control Windows Plus? No, Windows Plus. Man, I'm not going to remember any of these keyboard. Really nice looking VTT tokens, right? And the cool bit is you can sort of grab it. Oh, God. You can grab a token, and then we'll go to like a map, and we'll say, like, I'm pretty sure we're going to go here. And we'll paste them, and we can paste, you know, you say, 3 cultists, right? You can have little cultists. Evil John says, I'd like to hear more about your maps in slides approach. Sure, I can talk a little bit about that. But that you just saw how I do tokens, right? And then I have a, so Windows, I think it's Windows Shift W, Windows Shift S, no, Windows Shift S. So Windows Shift S lets you draw a lasso around something. I don't know if you guys can see this, but if the characters get to a certain area, I can copy. Can I paste it? Headaches. It's hard to show. Oh, I can show it in Discord, but that's a whole other thing. So I have another video where I talk about it a lot. And I don't want to talk about it too much here because I got a game to prep for, and it's a fresh game. Anyway, yeah. So, but by using Google Slides to put maps, I went to Dyson. Actually, so I bought a whole bunch of Dyson maps. I think I have 400 Dyson maps now in a directory. And I went through the directory yesterday and just picked out like 6 maps that I thought would be, they looked like they fit the general idea of what I was going to do. And I threw all those maps in here. I set them out. Then I went to Printable Heroes and grabbed some tokens, and I threw the tokens in there, and I can copy and paste as many of those tokens as I want. So I'm all set there. And yeah, so now I've got good maps and tokens ready. And then what I do is I use a copy and paste lasso, which Windows Shift S is what you do on a Windows machine. On a Mac, it's like, you know, Option Shift 4 or something like Option Control 4 or something like that. And you can copy a area of your window, put it in your clipboard, and then paste it into as an image in Discord. And that way they can see it. I have a whole other video where I talked about that. And but it's a really good technique. I've been using it now. Or it works very well for me. It's a good way to not have to worry about another client with like Roll20. It's hard enough for me to get everybody talking in video and audio. So I just say, look, get on Discord, get your audio working, and I will paste images to you of what's going on in any given situation. And I can do full-size maps. I can do little rooms. I can make it as big as or small as I want. If I use the lasso technique, I can draw a window around what I want them to see and anything that they don't, and then paste that in, and that works really well. So yeah, real good technique. So anyway, so what are we going to do with the game today? So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I was reading through the Margreve adventures, and they didn't really grab me. Like none of them grabbed me as like, oh yeah, I definitely want to run that as a one shot. And I could have forced one. I could have said, yeah, I'll go. But then I was like, I just wrote an article about how Seven Samurai is like this awesome adventure template. So why don't I just do a Seven Samurai adventure? And so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to jump back and forth between like the little books over here and my game notes, but right now we're going to go over to the game notes. So today I don't really have a name for this adventure yet. A name may come. And the general my general thought for the seed of the story is that the characters are in a town or a village in the middle of Margreve, and the villagers have been very successful with mining metals, iron and iron mining and some gemstones and stuff like that. So they've been relatively successful. But the town has been there for a long time. So the villagers that are there, some of them have been there a long time, and then others are more recent people who have gotten there from the city of Zobek. They wanted to leave Zobek, and they wanted to go into Margreve, and they made it to the town, and they're there now. But the town is underneath a curse, and that curse is caused because previous members of the town blocked and entrapped Shadow Fae, who used to regularly step between the world of Shadow and the Margreve, and then they became trapped and died and like lost themselves here on this side of the Margreve in an old some kind of old ruin. And every I don't know, we're making up on arbitrary stuff now, and maybe this will change, but like every 30 years they seek their revenge, and they go to the town and they wipe out everyone in the town as revenge for the fact that they were trapped on this other side. The group knows that this is happening. They don't have the people to stop it. There's some town elders there, and they say, we need your help, and we will pay you. We have jewels. We can pay you for this if you will defend us against this undead horde that's coming out of the ruins. That's coming out of the ruins nearby. So I wrote an article about this, and here's and I think this. I wrote about it on Twitter today. Seven Samurai, perfect D&D adventure. So the idea is like, the Seven Samurai model is essentially that. A group of villagers hires the characters to defend them from a force who is going to come and wipe them out. That's the general storyline. The more specifics that are there and the questions that we answer to sort of build the theme around it is, who are the villagers asking the characters for help? Like who are the villagers? Who are the bandits that are going to attack the village? What are they like, and why are they doing it? What's an interesting feature of the village itself? What's an interesting feature of the bandit hideout itself? What secret do the villagers hide, and why haven't the bandits attacked already? Those are the I guess it's 6 questions, right? And if you have those 6 questions, and then in here I have a bunch of examples of like, groups that you have, and like, there's an example of Lord Soth and a bunch of guys. And you could do it at any level. Like it could be vampires being led by a Death Knight, and it's like a tier 3, tier 4 level. So we're gonna have so we have our questions. So who are the villagers asking the characters for help? They are a few natives, but mostly frontier folk from Zobek, from the city of Zobek. Who are the bandits preparing? They are undead Shadow Fae, right? So they're elven undead. That's nice and easy. What makes the village fantastic? It's very old. It's very old. The central has been there for thousands of years. What makes the bandit hideout fantastic? So it could be that it sits half in and half in. Half in and half out of the world of shadow. And it's always surrounded by eternal night. And that eternal night extends outwards. And it's like when no day reaches the village, that's the day they attack. So what dark secret do the villagers hide? The elders are cultists of... and what did I looked them up. I just had them. Of Chernobog. They seek eternal night, but they want it for themselves, right? They're even though you have like the Shadow Fae, they're not allied, and they have they have a captured Shadow Fae held in the catacombs of the cathedral that has been there for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they've been using that to, they've been using that as part of their rituals. Why haven't the bandits attacked already? They're waiting until night for the night to reach the village, the eternal night. When the eternal night reaches the village, that's when they're going to attack. So, so you're like, okay, that took 5 minutes, not even, right? And I've got myself a story. I think we'll format it this way. And you can kind of see where it's going, right? I think from that, you kind of get the general idea of what's happening. And, okay, so I cheated a little bit. Like, it's not like I haven't been thinking about this story for the last few days, but I really haven't thought about it that much. And the only work I did was to go fetch those maps. But I knew, like, okay, I'm going to do Seven Samurai 1. And it's like, oh, Shadow Fae would be kind of cool. And then like, oh, Chernobog, that'd be kind of cool. So I kind of ran with that to see what was going on. So characters, if the players play the same characters they had, and they may not, we'll see. We have Crawl, played by Robert, who's a Minotaur cleric. Very clean and put together and believes in justice above all. I like him a lot. And he's going to have a lot of fun because he's going to turn a lot of undead. Hiccup is an 11-year-old kobold monk that fights with a bow staff, feels a sense of wanting to be here, felt the need to come to Margreve. Dr. Royce Edwards is a half-elf druid who is documenting his time in Margreve. Brema Larental, a river elf botanist and wizard who follows the ley lines. And we have Alda Swiftbranch, my wife's character, who is a bearfolk ranger. So we have a nice mix of fun characters for today's game. And I think I can see a lot of interesting starts here. So the strong start, my temptation is to route the characters to the village with the eternal night coming, and that there's this, they've been battling. I mean, I can start them off with a good fight against, like, they're going to be 4th level. They're starting at 4th level. So if we did a quick, okay, well, I can do it in my head, right? How many skeletons can 5 4th level characters take on, like, until it's deadly? And the head math is, I think skeletons are a quarter, CR quarter. Skeletons are CR 1/4. So they should theoretically, okay, we add all the levels together. And so 4 times 5 is 20. And then they are below 5th level. So you quarter that, so that's 5. So they can take on 5 CRs worth of monsters. So yeah, Evil John says 20 skeletons. And that sounds about right. That I think, yeah, that's right, because it's 5 times 4, right? They get 5 CRs, 4 per CR. So they could theoretically take on 20. Now, in your head, if you just think about 5 4th level characters taking on 20 skeletons, you can see that, yeah, they could do it. That's probably pretty hard, right? Now, a good turn undead is going to take a whole bunch of them out. So maybe 10, 20 is fully strong, right? So I think, yeah, why not? We can do 20 because we also want to push them a bit. So 20 skeletons, right? Now I'm kind of BSing a little bit. There's a little railroady stuff going on here because what I'm going to have happen is they see the 20 skeletons, they fight 20 skeletons, and then they're going to see like, oh man, there's more out there, right? And they'll see like more powerful like whites. You know, I think we're going to have some. I think we're definitely going to have whites in here. Whites are challenge 3. They're kind of weak for a challenge 3. It's that life drain that makes them particularly tough. So they're good. Like whites are good for level. Can I turn off? I'm going to remove it from Chrome. No, I'll keep it, whatever. This is my Beyond 20 plugin that I have set up to auto do rolls for things in D&D Beyond inside Discord. So if I click these, it does weird things. It shows up in weird places. So I think attacked by 20 skeletons, and maybe they'll see a couple of whites. And there's more skeletons on the way. Right? That kind of are pushing them into the village. And so this is a little railroady, you know, that like you get to fight a bunch of these guys, but then you look in the woods and you see that a lot more are coming, and you're making your way into the village. And perhaps an NPC can run up and help them and say, get the hell out, come to the village. And you know, and the sun, like they'll be like, it's midday, but like it's dark. And then they'll see that sunlight is hitting this village and like, let's get the hell in there. So I think that's a good, strong start. It's a little bit of a railroad, but like everybody understands that like it's good to be part of the action. This is one where like the agreement between players and a DM is important. That like, you know, don't be fancy and don't do what your character would do if it goes against, you know, the direction of where the game is obviously headed. It's a good, strong start. The other start is just like throw them in the village, right? But yeah, when you're doing a one-shot game like this, I don't know that it's too, I don't think that it's too much of a push. Like there was a Eberron adventure that James Intercasso wrote, House on, I don't know, I remember the exact name of it, Eberron adventure, where you defended a house while it was getting attacked, and there's a bunch of things that happen inside the house. And it was great. Great adventure. And it starts off with like, you're going to get your ass kicked by a whole ton of undead unless you go up to that house. And it's like, and people, we all kind of joked about it. We're like, no, I'm not going to that house. Houses are bad. Houses are worse than fighting. I'm going to stay out here and I can fight all these dudes. And the DM's like, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to the house. So the same kind of thing, right? That's okay though. So that's our strong start. Is fighting 20 skeletons a bit boring? I don't think so. I think it's a good way for characters to really show off their capability of fighting so many guys. I guess they don't have multiple attacks yet. But the nice thing about skeletons is that like skeletons are not hard to beat. So you can take them down. And I might even do like cleaving rules, you know. If you do so you do one die in every hit. Maybe they roll a terrible hit and it doesn't. And you can use group hit points if you want. One way to do like, they only have 13 hit points, so they're going to drop pretty quick, right? And you can have it where like damage is carrying over. So if they hit it, they'll hit the next one. And I don't think I'm going to track 20 skeletons independently. I think that I'm going to. So I probably am going to have them attacking in waves. There's a wave in the back of archers, and there's a wave up front, and they're firing their bows. And we'll see. 20 is a lot. Yeah. 20 against 5. So it's like 4 per character. And I could do the 1/4 of them hit. So like, as you know, if I wanted to go fast, I could just say all the attacks come in and, and you get hit. Another way is in Discord, you can actually roll 4 attacks simultaneously. So it's pretty easy to roll skeleton attacks against one guy and say, this is how much damage you take. So could it be a lot? Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's going to be boring. I think it could be a little grindy, and I'll have to play it quickly, and like show them like they don't have to fight all 20 of them, right? Now remember, they're fighting 20, but like probably 8 of them are going to be inside of the radius of a turn undead if they cast turn undead, and if he wants to go out of his way and try to like run in there, he might get as many as like 15 of them, and then if he hits 15 of them. 1/4 of 15, only 4 of those are going to survive the blast. And then, that's a lot of them that are gone, and then it's pretty easy. So it's pretty quick. This is my dirty trick of like running hordes that in any given horde, 1/4 of them succeed on saving throws, and 1/4 of them succeed on attacks. And you don't have to roll if you don't want to. You can just sort of apply that. So it's like if everybody's getting attacked by 4 skeletons, one of them's going to hit, and you're going to take 5 damage. And it's super fast to do like a combat. And then instead of getting into the nitty gritty and grindy of the mechanics, you describe what it's like. Like they're pouring, arrows are raining in, tearing through the leaves. They're screaming at you. They're all wearing this like crazy ancient elven armor. They have these shattered sword, ancient shattered swords, and they all seem to be smiling at you. And it's less that they are stabbing you and more that they are routing you, and you can see like there's a black mist floating around them, and maybe a couple of them can do like weird things like Misty Step. One of them comes in and disappears and comes in from behind, and stabs. So you can sort of describe why these skeletons are it's not 20 skeletons. It's 20 shadow phase skeletons. And the minute you add the shadow phase stuff in there, maybe they explode in darkness like what are those guys called? The dark ones. There's a lot of like little fun things you can add on to these guys just in narrative that make them different than a standard skeleton. So, low hit point plus cleave rules sound both player thrilling and fast, even against 20 beasties. Yeah, so when you have them cleave through, that they're just pouring damage down the line, that works really well. So that is the start. So we got that. Oh my God, it's 10:30 already, and I got a whole game to prepare. And all I talked about was the first scene. So we have routing by the Shadow Fae. We have the village, and we need a village name, right? So let's go to village name. Village name generator. Here's one. The K word. Head knots. Village of Tree Knot. That's a little too. I could tell them. Devirus. The village of Devirus. And Devirus is a what? I don't know. We'll get to our secrets and clues. So they meet the village of Devirus. The council meeting. And then they have choices. Defend the village. Or go to the ruins. And then maybe they have to defend the village anyway. Another potential scene in here is exposing the cult of Chernobog and defend the village. So real straightforward scenes. One of the keys is like, it's a 4-hour game. It's 4.5 hours is what it's scheduled for. That's half hour for us to monkey with audio and video and getting all that stuff working. Because I have a feeling everyone's just going to drop in at the last minute and go like, oh my God, nothing works. So we're going to monkey around with all that. And it could take a little time to like get in the characters and everything. So it could be like as short as a 3.5 hour game, which means I don't want it to go too far. And there's also different potential endings. Like it could be that they stand their ground and they defend the village like Seven Samurai. And it could be that they actually manage to expose the cult and change change the direction and parlay with the villains and break the connection or something like that. I don't know. So there could be multiple secrets. So I got my potential scenes. We'll see where those go. So secrets and clues. Devirus, I'm already spelling it wrong. We'll go with this name. I like this better. Devirus is easier. Been in Margreve for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Adventurers. The cathedral, oldest building in the village. Been here since the beginning. The elders often go to the cathedral middle of the night. There are rumors of ancient chambers, catacombs below the cathedral. So we have kind of two different dungeons. Hey, Draga here is here. Good morning. A bit late because you're working on your own game. Yay, we're all working on our games. Awesome. The rumors of ancient chambers and catacombs below the cathedral. Some nights on a full moon, screams wake the dreams of the villagers. The elders have someone down in the catacombs. The elders are ancestors. Oh, let's see. So who do they have down there? Shadow Fae. They use them for rituals to boy, a lot of secrets. And I think this is one's going to be driven heavily by secrets. So I think having more than 10 isn't so bad. And the fact that I'm on 9 and I'm not having any trouble not coming up with secrets. Can you guys see this? You guys can't. Yeah. Oh, thank God. I guess somebody would have said something if you couldn't see it. The Elders of Shadow Fae. We need a name for that rock place too. Let's go look some more random names here. We'll do it in a window we can see. Names. The Iron Crag. No. Worm Crag. Dragon Crag. The Ebon Spire. This is what's the name of the Shadow Fae Tower? So it should have sort of a shadowy name, right? And it's a gate, like the and then there's already Shadow Crag, so we can't do that. What is another name for a gateway? Gloom is always a good one. I like gloom. Of gloom, what? I need a thesaurus for the word door. Give me gate, hatch, exit gate, aperture, egress, entry. These are boring. The shadow of the gloom door. Gloom. We'll go with Gloom Hollow. So the place is known as Gloom Hollow. We're trapped. We're trapped in Margreve and stripped of their souls by the original villagers of Deveris. The souls are held in a black altar, catacombs of Deveris. The Dark Way. That's not bad. I think Gloom Hollow's going to work for me. Is Gloom Hollow something else? Gloom Hollow sounds like something else. So what other secrets do we have? I don't know. That's probably, oh, I need one more. So when I said that we could have more secrets, it turns out I don't really have many more secrets. What other bits and odds and ends? I think I've got a lot of the main bits of the story in here. The Shadow Fae of Gloom Hollow want revenge. So that's fine. It's a terrible secret. Of course they want revenge. What else do they want? One more secret. One more interesting secret. So what's buried beneath? How about the Gloom Hollow Shadow Fae wipe out every 40 years. And time has come. What fantastic locations do we have? So we have the village of Deveris, and that has the cathedral. I wonder what. So I'm a little asterisk is which god. It's actually to Chernobog, but we have the catacombs. We need a Shadowfell name. I already have Gloom. Wormrunner. The Black Altar. So those are a few. The well. The old well. Never go wrong by having a second entry point that's an old well. And that the well leads down into these sewers beneath, and then there's, that connects into the catacombs below. They can kind of break through a wall and they can get in underneath the catacombs that way. That's one possible way. So I think we're all set there. What other? So the other location is Gloom Hollow. And we know we're going to have the gate, the dead gate. We know we're going to have, what other? The charnel pit. There was always there's an image in the movie Poltergeist 2, which is by and large a terrible movie. But one of the creepy bits was that this cult believed that that the end of the world was coming, so they buried themselves alive in a vault, and then sealed it up. And when the heroes open it, they see that there is a mound of bodies, all reaching up, climbing over one another, trying to get to that door that they sealed shut. And that is a creepy image, and I always like that. So I'm thinking of something similar to that, where essentially we could have the ancient ancestors. These could be like really old shadow fae that have just, they were the old ones back then, and they're just desiccated husks sitting in a circle. The ancestors and the dead monolith. So you can have like a single monolith that like the ancestors all sitting around, and the ancestors are dead and the monolith is dead. And they realize like there was life energy in here once. It was a connection point to the shadow fae, but not anymore. And because the connection is broken, they're all dead. They even their husks are dead. And so they have no souls, like the souls are gone. I kind of like that idea. Let's take a look at the map and see if there's anything kind of cool in the map. I think this was one of the areas that I was thinking about using. I had a couple of potential areas. And I should pick one, right? I should make it solid. So this one's not bad. It's got a bunch of like layers and stuff like that. I definitely think we could fill this up with stuff. It has secret areas. I think that could be cool. So I think we're going to use that one. The other alternative was this guy. Oh man, zooming is a pain. So this was another map that I was considering using. It's not bad either, but I don't really need a tower. So I think we're going to wipe that one out. And we're going to stick to this one. This was another one that I was thinking of using for the catacombs. And it's a cool one, but I don't think I'm going to use that one either. So we're going to bang that one out. So that means I got this guy. This is the catacombs that the players can sort of get into. And I'll have another entry point in here somewhere, the sewers. This is where you get in from the cathedral. And then there's probably like another entry area, like a little sewer grate in here that can kind of get them in. So this is a nice 2-layer. You can see that it's a 2-layer approach, and that can work well. And then this will be the base of the other one. And then we have the cathedral layout itself, just in case we need it. And we have the village. That's where the cathedral is. And it's not a very easily defended place. So if they decide that they're going to defend it, then we'll have to figure out like how they're going to defend it. Because obviously a big piece of this is you might have to sit there while 100 skeletons come riding in. And how are you going to face 100 skeletons? So, so I think, do I need enough? Is there any other locations inside? Yeah, the Throne of the Shadow Prince. And that's a good place for a magic item. That could be that secret area right up here. And yeah, right there's that secret area. And there could be a Throne of the Shadow Prince in there and a treasure vault. And that way they can get some loot. Any other kind of neat rooms or chambers down here? The Hollow. So maybe there's a chamber where it's like, skeletal hands and stuff like that. And it's the shadow fae creatures that don't have any of the, like, even their revenge has fallen. And they're just desiccated husks that will fight anything. They don't have weapons or swords, and they are the true lost, right? Maybe they're like not even the warriors that the Gloomhollow warriors that are actually seeking revenge. They're just like the Gloomhollow citizenry that did. So we're good there. NPCs. So I feel like I've got good locations going. I think I've got enough going on there. So important NPCs. We have a few. So we need some elders. There's probably 3 elders, right? Let's get some names going here. My random names. Gertrude Greenharp. That's a good one. And what's a good? We're gonna do the old movie NPC trick. So who is a character from a movie that we like here, that we wanna that will make a good elder? And remember that the elders are respected by the villagers, but they're actually secret cultists of Chernobog. Galen Broadsoul, that's a good one. These are all cult fanatics. The mayor from Jaws. Perfect. Thank you, sir. That's a great one. What is another? Rufus Freesteel. Can never go wrong with the mayor. We'll do another mayor. The mayor from Deadwood. So those are the 3 elders. Then we have we need some like good people villagers. At least 1 or 2. So there could be the person that they first come in, Nyx. Nyx Randwood. Nyx is a half elf. Failed adventurer, half elf failed adventurer, but does, and hunter, probably a half elf failed adventurer and hunter. And that will be sort of the character's entry point into town blacksmith. Yeah, I guess they do some iron. So let's have a town blacksmith. Matha Stoneforger. Dwarven Smith. So those are the... So we have a bunch of good guy NPCs. We've got about 5 good guy NPCs that I can drop in. I always like Kathy Bates. So we're going to go with Kathy Bates. So, but then we also have the show. Oh, and then there's, so I think I mentioned them, that down in the cellar is, who's the Shadow Fae that's down in the catacombs? I thought I had a name. I thought I named who was down in the catacombs already. Wormrunner. Shadow Fae White, right? Been there for a long time. And an old book. I think, yeah, there's an old book that talks about the centuries. So who is leading? Who are the leaders of the attackers? Thornheart is a great name. So Thornheart is the leader of the Shadowfey Whites. Summerchild is a priestess, an undead priestess. I want to rope Dawnblade, Duskblade, right? He's a Shadowfey Hulk. Fights with a huge weapon and armor. Are there any others up there? I don't know. That's probably pretty good. Do they have a wizard up there? Yeah, I don't think we need it. I think those are Thornheart, Summerchild, and Duskblade. So we've got some. So these are the whites, right? The Shadowfey Whites. So, all right. Quick review, and I got 8 minutes to go. So I know who the characters are. I've got a strong start. I got a bunch of secrets and clues. I've got a bunch of potential scenes. I know what the general theme is going to be. I've got some cool locations that I can describe. I think I have enough background on those to describe them. Interesting places to explore, some of which they may just bypass. Like maybe the cult of Chernobog never comes up at all, right? Maybe that's not ever a thing. But if they're inquisitive at all, they're gonna be like, why is the town getting attacked? Oh, we don't know. And then they dig into it and they find out more. And there could be nosy kids who see things. So monsters, we have skeletons. So we're going to set up some aliases here. So M1 is going to be, so what are the aliases? These are for Avre. If you play D&D over Discord, there's a wonderful bot called Avre. And I had some Avre tricks. You add Avre by going down here and clicking invite when you have a Discord server, and it will join your Discord server. If you're logged into Discord here, it'll pass the invite along. And Avre connects to D&D Beyond, and it also has like a bunch of SRD monsters and stuff like that in it. And it's got its own sort of scripting-ish language where you can run commands online. And there's a few that I really like. So, so the first one are the Shadowfey skeletons, right? So M1, MA, skeleton, short sword dash title, a Shadowfey skeleton slashes at you. I'm gonna drop this. Let me see if I can pull Discord out. I might be logged in here. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to my Discord channel. This is my, and go to my DM channel. Is there a way to, yeah, that's a little better. A Shadowfey skeleton slashes at you. Rolls to hit, rolls to damage, right? And then if I want, so now I've got an alias where I just type that and then skeleton attacks. But it says a Shadowfey skeleton slashes at you, which is cool. And if I do M1-RR4, I can have 4 skeletons attack, right? So I can very quickly have multiple monsters attack. Is there bow? Their bow is 1d20 plus 2. Their longsword is 1d20 plus 4. So they're worse with their bow, but it's really close. No. Their bow and their short sword are attacks. So we're gonna say Shadowfey, a skeleton attacks you. And that way I can do it for longbow. I can do it for short bow or, you know, so now it works for either bow strikes or sword attacks. Although I think it says piercing. No, it works either way, right? It's a melee weapon attack, but it's still, yeah, so that's fine. So I've got that one. I want to have a scout. So my thought was that we'd have some scouts. I think I might just have skeletons that attack twice and have Misty Step. And I can call them like a Shadow Fae. What would they be? They're not a white. I don't know. We're gonna have the M2 will be the white. Whoops. So I need to do, what is it? Longsword +2. I screwed up again. So the aliases are just a quick way to be able to run monster attacks. And see, like right there, I've got a Shadow Fae white slashes at you, and I've got the attacks and the damage are already set. That's a lot of damage. They're gonna get hurt. They're gonna get hurt. So, are there other monsters? I know there's like crawling claws, maybe. I think it's mostly skeletons and whites. I don't have to get fancy with the monsters, I don't think. I do have a priest. Cult fanatic, right? And I'm not really going to be rolling that in the chat because it's almost all spells. Can you do? Is MS a spell? No. I don't know how to do that one. So we're going to have cult fanatics and a priest. But I don't think we're going to have much more there. So treasure. So we're going to have like a Shadow Fae longsword. Is always a good one. +1. And it has Misty Step. Oh, man. My wife's out weeding, and it freaked me out. Because I was like, oh, there's someone at the window. Misty Step once per day. That's a good one. I want to do a few, so maybe a magic ring. Probably a ring of protection. I think that maybe one of the... a bow would be great, right? Longbow of the Black Sun. It is a +1 longbow. Once per day. It can do what? Darkness? Blindness? How about blindness? And it's a DC 14 check on a target that is struck by it. Can go blind. That's pretty good. Any other interesting? I might roll a couple magic items. We'll see. And then I've got initiative checks. I'm gonna do my initiative list the other way. So, I think I'm pretty well set. Now your question, I guess one question is like, wow, really? Skeletons and whites? We're gonna have a 4-hour session and it's just skeletons and whites. But I think there's enough other kind of stuff going on, and I can probably pull some other monsters. I think we can always throw some gray oozes. Like, what else could be lurking down? So we can have shadows. Shadows are a good one. Like now for the Shadow Fae, but I think they will be protectors of Chernobog. So shadows could be a cool one. If they, on the assumption they go down there. So I think I am pretty well set. There's certainly a couple of other odds and ends. Like one thing I want to find out is like I need a god that the cathedral is to. I got to go look up Midgard gods. See if anybody jumps out at me. Anybody in chat, you know of some good Midgard gods? Is there a pantheon? A lot of places, I'll tell you. People, time, travel, ley lines, and shadow roads. The boss fight is going to be the whites. Like the whites are really hard for level 4. So to me, the boss fight, like the whites are going to be sort of the last thing they face. Most of it's going to be fighting armies of skeletons. And I think, I don't know. So I want the crossroads gods. So probably a god of cores, right? I think that makes sense. There we go. God of cores. Lord of the sun, bright master of the chariot. This is perfect. And they would be worshipped in Zobek. So cores, god of light. Yeah, so I think we are all set. I think I've got what I need. At least most of the structure is there, and luckily I've got an hour and a half, so I can probably kind of clean things up a bit. But I think we're probably pretty good. I think I could run a 4-hour game with the material that I've got here now. So we'll find out. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming today. It is always a pleasure to have folks come into the chat and, help me prep my game. And I hope this was fun and useful and interesting. And I will be back on again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about my Eberron game, another homebrew game. So you guys are seeing a lot of me homebrewing stuff, which a lot of people had requested. So I hope it's useful. So thank you all. Have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great day. Get out there and play some D&D.